Here we go. We might as well go down swinging. We're going to go with the story, because the terror is right here in this room.
No.
Well, look at that. It was a movie that became a box office sensation and award season darling 20 years ago. Good Night and Good Luck told the story of Edward R. Murrow, and it was spearheaded by George Clooney himself.
And now Clooney is reimagining the show and bringing it and himself to the Broadway stage. Joel Gargiulo got to sit down with Clooney. Is he?
Wait, he's so charming. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. I think this is year 16, and there's not that many people where you're just like, oh my God. George Clooney is one of them, because he's one of the biggest stars of our day, but he's also such a pro, such a gentleman. And yes, he is making his Broadway debut. So he held an old school style press conference to announce his cast, and I got to chat with him all about the project.
Hello. Hi, everybody. How are you?
There it is, his name in lights, George Clooney at the Winter Garden Theater. How's the family?
They're really great. They're having fun. They're here. They're in school. They're having a really good time, and it's exciting. It's a different world for us, and it's exciting to be here.
The show is Good Night and Good Luck, a stage adaptation of the 2005 film Clooney co-wrote and directed. Though this time, he's stepping into the role of legendary journalist Edward R. Murrow.
And what matters? Honesty, facts, integrity.
A role that hits close to home.
Truth.
How much of you doing this is almost a love letter to your dad in some way?
Well, it is. My father was an anchorman for 40 years, and he's still feisty. He's going to come see the play, and I'm sure I'll get some brutal notes about journalism from my dad. But yeah, I'm very proud of the person that my father has been his whole life and career. He taught me all the things that I believe in, and I'm proud to represent his craft.
What do you remember about being a kid and going to visit him at work?
I used to run the teleprompter for him.
Stop it.
In the old days, and teleprompters in the old days was a camera on top of paper that was taped end to end. And you would run it underneath the camera with a big light on it. And then whenever they do a commercial break, they go cut that segment, and you had a giant paper cutter, and you would cut it, and then you tape it back together. That's how old I am.
The play follows Murrow's historic confrontation with Senator Joseph McCarthy, a story Clooney says still resonates.
Unfortunately, this is a story that has been relevant for 100 years and continues to be relevant, and so I think it's a good time to always remind ourselves of us at our best. And he was pretty much us at our best, Murrow was.
You know what, as I have gotten more mature, I will just say, instead of saying aging, but I really appreciate firsts, because I think they're so hard to come by as we get older. We, go on in our professions, but to experience a first like this, making your Broadway debut with a piece of work that means so much to you. Can you just walk me through the wave of emotions?
Well, yeah, it's fear. It's abject fear is when I'm the wave of emotion. Yeah, I'm terrified, but that's not such a bad thing to be. It's kind of a good thing in life to constantly be doing stuff that you don't feel comfortable with or you don't feel confident in. I love the story.
As for opening night,
Good night and good luck.
is Brad Pitt getting an invite to opening night?
No, he's not. In fact, I don't want him around. Apparently, we're fighting. I saw some article the other day. We're fighting. I don't know. I don't know where Brad is right now. He's shooting a movie, so he's almost done, and then we're gonna do another film together soon.
That's a scoop. Good night and good luck. Who hasn't practiced that line in front of
I know, and there is a very large cast, which she announced. As she mentioned, we've got Long Island native Alana Glazer and Clark Gregg also in the mix. I really appreciate any conversation with George Clooney. He's so thoughtful. He is so funny. We always talk about pranking, too. George Clooney, I don't know if you guys know this, is like the world's biggest prankster. So he told me a good story yesterday. In the past, he's told me a story about how he pranked Brad Pitt. He had a stationery made with Brad's name on it and sent it to Meryl Streep, offering dialect help. He goes, I worked with his dialect coach on Troy and sent cassettes, and he says nothing about it. So, and here's the thing, I should mention, previews start March 12th. Okay. Shows are easier to get into and cheaper during that preview period. It opens officially in April, so
Get on it.
and then you could see him at the stage door. So
And-
tell him we said hi.
Listen,
And
it
his dad
sounds
worked
like
at ABC.
It sounds like he has experience. So if he ever wants to stop by Eyewitness News, we'll make a chair
Yeah,
for him.
we'll make room, right?
He can run the podcast.